Hey folks, welcome back to the Lone Pine Tarot. For today's pick a card reading, we have a topic that's all about your January 2024. So at the time that I upload this video, this will be generally the month ahead. For our pile leaders to choose from, I have some cards from the Woodland Wardens Oracle. For pile number ones, I have the Weasel and Pine with the subtitle Introspection. For my pile number twos, I have the Wolf and Rosehip with the subtitle Guardianship. And last but not least, for my pile number threes, I have the Porcupine and Anemone with the subtitle Boundaries. So whenever you have meditated and decided upon which pile you would like read for your January 2024 guidance, as always, the timestamps for the piles are down in both the description box and the top pinned comment of the comment section below beneath the video. And after you click on your timestamp for your reading, I will see you in our discussion about the month ahead for you. Bye! Hello, my lovely pile number ones. Welcome to your reading today that is all about January 2024 guidance for you. As you recall, the card used to help pick your pile was the Weasel and Pine with the subtitle Introspection. Now, I always love this card. Of course, I'm a little biased because it says Pine, right? Channel name, right? But it's very, if you're familiar with tarot, it's a lot like the Hermit in tarot, especially with that subline of introspection, right? We'll get more into that meaning in just a moment. I'm going to set out all your cards. First, I have a section of kind of general predictions for January 2024, and then I also have a section on guidance and advice from Spirit for January 2024 for your pile number one. So let's split those. All right, I'll set these down here with me while we read your general predictions for January 2024. And I apologize if I shuffle the cards quite a bit around. I'm still getting used to this new setup and the limited space, so forgive me if I do shuffle the cards around a little bit. Let's try this way. So for your Tea Leaf Fortune card, you received Elephant. A long journey, either physical or mental, will leave you wiser at the end. Okay. So some sort of journey, pile number ones, seems to be in the cards. It doesn't necessarily mean, of course, like getting on a plane or anything like that, but we'll see. And then your Nature's Whispers for this month is make a decision. This came out in a reading the other day. If you watched that video and you got that same pile, perhaps that's a bit of a synchronicity for you, pile number ones. Okay. Let's, like I said, you're kind of the guinea pig, so sorry about all the shifting around. We'll put that over here, how about? Alright, and then from the Pastoral Tarot, you received, lovely, the Ace of Cups here with a spring or stream in a forest with a white dove hanging out over the top, flying by. Beautiful card. I mean, the whole deck is gorgeous, but this card is just, wouldn't you just love to have a picnic there, right? In the forest next to a stream burbling by. Okay, and then your tarot cards. You received the Eight of Swords, okay. A picture is starting to form. Okay, Spirit, I'm getting what you're throwing down. And then the Eight of Cups reversed, all right. We have the Devil, okay. Just reaffirming some things I was thinking. And we have the Explorer of Wands reversed, which in most decks is the Knight of Wands reversed. Okay. Yeah, so once again, let's see. Shuffle around. If there's at any point where you want to see a card more fully, of course, you can always rewind a little bit and pause on that part of the video. But yes, apologies, like I said, for things kind of covering each other and me shuffling around as I'm getting used to this new setup with the candle and the pine cones. Anyways, onto your reading, the important thing, right? So, pile number ones for January 2024. I see a little bit of what I like to call often analysis paralysis in January for you. The reason I say that is because not only did you get the card Make a Decision over here from the Nature's Whispers Oracle, you can kind of see, as I explained in the other reading that had this card, this figure is kind of caught between two different worlds, right? On the left, she has hieroglyphics from, it looks like Egyptian hieroglyphics here on her wing, and there's the pyramids of Giza, it looks like, here down in the corner. And on the other hand, she's kind of in like an Amazonian tropical rainforest type jungle setting, right? Kind of stuck between two different worlds, two completely different continents, right? And that's kind of the feeling of Make a Decision, is being caught between two different worlds, not sure where to go, stuck between one path or another path, right? Analysis paralysis, like I said. And that's especially reaffirmed here with the cards that you got from the tarot, right? So not only do we have the Eight of Swords here, which this card, you can see there's a white sword here. In fact, I'll hold it up for you so you can see it a bit clearer. There's a white sword here trapped by a bunch of other swords, and there's another black sword over here that looks like it's almost kind of like guarding this. The Eight of Swords is all about feeling trapped in something, feeling stuck, and that in combination with the Devil is, now the Devil, okay, traditionally the Devil, if you've ever seen the original Rider-Waite-Smith tarot, the very common one that, like when you think of a tarot deck, that's generally what you think of, is that particular style, right? Or that design from Pixie, or Pamela Coleman Smith was her name, who did the drawings. Anyways, long story short, normally the Devil is literally like a depiction of the devil with two figures standing at his feet, right? This Devil card I love to pieces because not only is it, nature theme, but it looks like a jail cell, doesn't it? It's like a long line of trees standing straight, and it's like being stuck in the darkness behind the bars, almost like a jail cell, like I said, with the light beyond. It's that feeling of being trapped, that feeling of, kind of like I said with the Eight of Swords, being bound or stuck in something. So, pile number ones, what I'm seeing for you for January 2024 in summary here so far is, first off, there's a decision coming. You might already know what it is. It might be something that you figure out during the course of January 2024. There's a decision coming where you're going to feel analysis paralysis. You're going to feel a little bit stuck, okay? It's going to lead to a lot of introspection here, hence your Weasel and Pine. Like I said, that's kind of like hermit energy if you're familiar with the Hermit card from tarot. Going deep within ourselves and exploring the decisions we want to make going forward, exploring, wisdom gained from within instead of gained from without or from other people. It's kind of like the traditional depiction is like a sage with holding up a lantern, right? Or, well, literally like a hermit hiding away from society. So there's a general trajectory here, pile number ones, of, yes, feeling trapped in something, having to make a decision to get out of that feeling of being stuck somewhere, and going within to decide what to do, especially with Make a Decision. It's some sort of decision that's popping up. And what I'm seeing here, pile number ones, what that decision is right here with the Eight of Cups reversed is one facet of it, right? The Eight of Cups reversed, normally upright, it's all about moving emotionally onwards from something. You can kind of see it's like a path going on towards the mountains. But reversed, it's asking for more of that energy, is how I read reversals, right? Asking for more of that energy of I need to emotionally move on from this thing, and however I feel stuck. That's what this decision is about. What I'm seeing here for you, it's some sort of, with your elephant card, like it says, a long journey, either physical or mental, will leave you wiser at the end. It's some sort of shift of energy from one place to another. Now, this is a general reading, of course. It's going to be different for everybody. That could literally mean a physical trip of some sort. That could mean a sort of shift in, I'm trying to think of other examples. Like the way that you have to think about doing something, maybe like with your career or with your family. Some sort of aspect where there's a shift of journeying forth from the norm, okay? From what you're used to. And then especially here with the Explorer or the Knight of Wands reversed, normally upright, that card is all about charging forward with passion and willpower. Reversed, you can almost kind of see here the Salamander is a bit meek, a little bit afraid, a little bit of huddling. It's asking for more of that energy of, I need to feel confident going forward to make this decision, hence all of this hesitation and analysis paralysis, like I was saying, right? And, the Ace of Cups up here from the Pastoral Tarot is interesting because I think this is what is guiding, or like the onset of all of this for you, pile number ones. The Ace of Cups is all about a new emotion, a new way of feeling about something, almost kind of like the spring that's welling up, creating this stream that creates like a pathway forward down through the forest, right? Something new emotionally is coming up. Now, for some of you, that could be with romance. For some of you, it could be the way you feel about your work. For some of you, it could be something to do with friends and family. Like I said, general reading, everyone's going to be different. But to summarize all of what's going on that Spirit wants to talk to you about in January 2024, pile number ones, there's some sort of new feeling about something, having to shift from old energy to new energy in terms of how you feel about something. Feeling a bit trapped about, what do I do? What decision do I make? Analysis paralysis, like I always say, especially with the Eight of Swords and the Devil, kind of feeling that, I'm stuck, right? And then going internally, speaking to yourself and exploring your own emotions to, like with your introspection card with the Weasel and Pine, to make that decision, to gain the confidence to emotionally move forward and have the confidence here with your Knight of Wands reversed, turning that into upright energy of having the confidence to go forward so that you can follow this path out of feeling trapped or feeling like you can't make a decision, okay? That's what I'm seeing here. See if there's any other messages here about kind of the context of January 2024 that they want to talk about for you, pile ones. Yeah, like a new feeling, and then that journey, like I said, could be different for everyone. Some of you, it might be, a literal journey, because it says either physical or mental. Some of you, it might be more metaphorical, but in some way, it's a shift from the norm, okay? Let's see if there's any other messages. Yeah, feeling stuck between two worlds, almost. Okay, so let's get on to the kind of guidance and advice part of your reading for January 2024 to be specific, pile number ones. I'm going to clear the desk here to get your other cards on the table. We'll keep your pile leader here. All right, set these off to the side. Excuse me. All right, get my ducks in a row back here with your cards. Okay, sorry, one second. I'm slipping on my hands. Okay, so this is the advice section of your reading for January 2024, pile number ones. How to navigate this analysis paralysis, this journey of shift into new energy, things like that. So first we have a surrender card. We have a surrender to the wisdom of your body, and it says, listen to your body's messages about a person or situation. If you feel physically drained or uncomfortable, be cautious. If you are energized and happy, move forward. So that's one piece of advice for you. I'll talk about it more in depth in a second here, pile ones, but we'll see where that leads in 1 second. Excuse me. And then your angel guide card is cut the cords. Okay. I think for you, pile number ones, for most of you, this is about an attachment you have to someone or something that's not serving you anymore. This is the decision you're being faced with in January 2024, where you have to make the decision to cut the cord and trust your gut to move away from this person or this situation, okay? Like I said, I'll talk about that more in a second. Your Pastoral Tarot is Eight of Wands. Eight of Wands, once again, shift into new energy. It's a lot about the speed of movement, moving quickly away from something. So I feel like this is something that might happen. Well, this is more of the guidance section, so maybe not necessarily something that'll happen rapidly, but there is advice here to move rapidly with this particular situation. But let's get your other tarot cards on the desk before I elaborate more. So you got the Guardian of Wands reversed. That is the Queen of Wands reversed. That's one step up from the Explorer or the Knight of Wands reversed we saw earlier. Okay. Let's see what else pops out here. We have the Six of Wands, lots of fire energy. Maybe something to do with work or a passion project. Fire is like generally like the things that we are passionate about, or creativity, willpower, that type of thing. The Child, or the Page of Cups as it's known in most decks. Okay, a bit of a surprise. It might catch you unawares, not necessarily a scary thing, but Page of Cups can mean a surprise. It can also mean exploring emotions, but like I said, one second. Oopsie. See, I'm still getting used to the setup here. Okay, but I do like all the pine cones. Of course, like I said, I'm a bit biased towards pines for obvious reasons, but all right, and then we have the Two of Cups reversed. Okay, so yeah, okay. I was getting this intuitively earlier, but I didn't want to necessarily say it until all the cards were on the table and I could see the full picture. I think for most of you, this is your relationship with somebody, pile number ones. Some area in your life where you need to cut cords. It's something that you already know isn't serving you deep down, especially here with when we talked about surrender to the wisdom of your body. Like I said, listen to your body's messages about a person or situation. If you feel physically drained or uncomfortable, be cautious. If you are energized and happy, move forward. So, piece of advice number 1 from Spirit for January 2024 with this analysis paralysis decision situation, right? Listen to your body, trust your gut. This is like High Priestess vibes all over about trusting your intuition with things. Pile number ones, as you go through the month of January here, whenever you get a gut feeling about something, trust it, okay? Like it says, if you feel physically drained or uncomfortable around something or someone, be cautious. If you're energized and happy, move forward. There are internal signs, pile ones, that you can follow, that your body and your mind already knows the way forward and that you have the power to listen to and act upon, right? And whenever you get a good or a bad gut feeling about something, that Eight of Wands is giving you advice to move forward with speed, okay? Eight of Wands traditionally look at like the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. It's eight wands coming down from the sky, almost like shooting stars, right? Fast motion, right? Coming down from the sky, going quick. Yes, so trust your gut quickly this month is one piece of advice, pile number ones, okay? Another piece of advice is cut the cords. This is very similar to surrender of the wisdom of your body, at least in terms of like what to do when you do get like a bad gut feeling about something. Because cut the cords is all about cutting, attachments to things that aren't serving us anymore, right? Like literally he's holding over his heart this dark energy and he's using light to kind of cut it off. Almost like a pair of scissors, snip. He's turning it into something positive. He's pulling that negative thing away from him. So when you get that bad gut feeling, pile number ones, yeah, immediately with that speed of the Eight of Wands, cut the cords from whatever it is. Yeah. And that should help you with making that decision where you feel trapped, is following that gut instinct, because you know deep down what's good for you. You have the power to know those things. You have the power to make those decisions and, get yourself out of a situation that's not serving you anymore, right? Let's look at your tarot cards here. Yeah, so for most of you, I think this is related to a relationship you have with somebody, because the Two of Cups normally is about a relationship we have with people. Doesn't necessarily mean romantic. It can mean, someone at work, someone in your family. Could be romantic technically, but reversed, it's about kind of a disharmony in a relationship. Two things aren't really being in balance in terms of emotions and relationship, or that particular relationship, I should say. Yes. So part of your advice too is look at where relationships are in disharmony or imbalanced, pile number ones. That's the Two of Cups reversed energy in a nutshell. Like I said, it could come as a little bit of a surprise here, hence the Child of Cups, because it can be, it's normally known as the Page of Cups, right? It can be kind of a, pop, surprise card, because normally it's like the imagery of a fish popping out of a cup, with the page as a human figure holding it in the regular deck. But yeah, so it might come up a little bit fast. It might come up a little bit of sudden, and, even here within the Spacious Tarot, you see the fish looking up at a cherry blossom tree, which I always kind of see as symbolism of ephemerality or things that don't last forever, right? And like the petals are falling and drooping here. So it might have been that this particular situation or relationship with this person seemed like it was going well for a while, but something pops out suddenly in January 2024 where what used to be, something that was blooming and blossoming and going well, all of a sudden the petals start dropping and you're like, oh, like that's that surprise, right? And then your other cards here are, like I said, the Queen of Wands reversed. Stand in your confidence, pile number ones. Queens, I always say, are internal mastery of things. And so Queen of Wands, or Guardian of Wands in this deck, reversed, is asking for more energy of internal confidence. And that's kind of leaning into what I was saying before about trusting your gut, cutting the cords when you feel it is right for you to cut the cords from a person or a situation, right? Feeling more, it's not so much the external mastery of confidence where it's like, having charisma or, being, what's the word? Being outwardly charismatic with people. This is internal confidence to have the power and the trust in oneself and the courage to go forward when we realize that there's something that's not serving us anymore, right? Having courage, I guess, is a good summary for that card. Asking for more of that. So lean more into courage when you can, pile number ones here in the next month when this happens. The situation where you need to cut the cords, right? And the Six of Wands, too, is interesting. Like I said, lots of fire energy here. Oh, you also have a lot of water with all the cups. So, yeah, with water and fire, we see relationships, emotions, and then fire, like I said, is like willpower, ambition, creativity, right? And then the Six of Wands specifically is about victory in some way. Just know that you're being guided to victory with this situation, pile number ones. I see that you're going to navigate this just fine. You're going to navigate to being not only free from this thing where you feel like you'll need to cut the cords, but also free from, like we were talking before in the beginning of your reading, about feeling trapped in a way, like with the Devil and Eight of Swords we saw earlier, feeling trapped. There'd be victory and overcoming that analysis paralysis of should I stay or should I go? Should I go forward and move away from the situation that's not serving me anymore? Or this person, maybe specifically, like I'm seeing a lot of you, I think it's a relationship of some sort, either platonic, familial, or it could be romantic. Yeah, just focus on being confident and just know that, especially if it does come up as a surprise here, like I was saying with the Child of, or Page of Cups, if it does come up as a surprise, don't panic immediately. Just know that it will work out in the end. And just, especially if you trust your gut, as I'm seeing here as the advice cards, trust your gut and move with speed with the Eight of Wands. Move quickly about shifting from this older energy into this new energy. This journey, like we said earlier with your Elephant card, about moving from what was into a better future, from a situation that's not serving you anymore, a person that's not serving you anymore, pile number ones. Let's see if there's any other messages I get here before I sign off. Yeah, and like we saw earlier with your Ace of Cups too, it's like a new feeling about something, I think that is related to your Page or Child of Cups here. It's like a thing that just suddenly kind of pops up, right? Where it seemed like everything was going the way it should before, but this little surprise pops up and you're like, oh, wait a minute. And that's probably when that gut instinct will kick in about, should I go this path or should I go down this other path, right? And when that pops up, pile number ones, keep making decisions quickly in mind. Don't hesitate too long. Because like we were saying before, that analysis paralysis might kind of kick in, right? Trust your body and your gut to tell you when it's the right time to move on. And, what situations or people are good or bad for you, right? And lean into your confidence when you're cutting these cords, when you're guiding yourself to a better future away from this negative energy, because like I said, with the Six of Wands, everything will work out just fine in the end here. I'm seeing victory. That's literally what the Six of Wands means. It's just that Spirit is kind of comforting you a little bit and giving you a heads up with this particular situation so that it can go even smoother, despite the fact that, for sure it seems like victory is in the cards for you, no matter what, with this, shifting from old to new energy that's better for you, right? So, yeah. All right, well, pile number ones, I hope that reading for January 2024 was helpful for you. As always, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope to see you in the next reading. Bye. Hello, my lovely pile number twos. Welcome to your January 2024 predictions and guidance reading for today. As you recall, the card you used to pick your pile was the Wolf and Rose Hip with the subtitle Guardianship. So we're going to talk about that in just a second. First, I'm going to separate your cards into the two different sections of the reading. So first, we're just going to talk about predictions or what the general situation in January Spirit wants to speak to you about. So I'll just set your advice cards down here with me until towards the end. Okay, so let's flip over your cards. For your tea leaf, you received Pig, Beware of Greed. Okay, we'll read on that in a second. Your Nature's Whispers, you received Be Spontaneous. Okay, some spontaneity may be in the cards for you, excuse the pun. Okay, Be Spontaneous, alright. Your Pastoral Tarot is the Four of Swords, someone resting in the hay, so maybe a little bit of time of rest from something, or yeah, that kind of feeling. Four of Swords usually means rest, right? Okay, and then your tarot cards are, we received the Nine of Pentacles, lovely. Success and, what's the word? I'm trying to think of the term. Nine of Pentacles is usually enjoying the fruits of our labor. That's what I want to say. And then we have Justice reversed. Okay. Apologies if the cards cover each other just a little bit. I'm still getting used to this new setup here. Okay. We have the Explorer of Wands reversed. Okay, that is the Knight of Wands reversed. Pile number one actually got that card too. Interesting. And then we have the Ace of Wands reversed. Okay. So apologies for either mumbling or a bit of silence as I look over your cards for January. Let's see what the situation is here. All right, pile number twos. Okay, Guardianship, Rest, Be Spontaneous, and then Injustice, Confidence. Okay. All right, pile number twos. There's a situation coming up in January of 2024 here pretty soon where you're feeling like, what's the best way to describe it? You're not necessarily caught between two different decisions, but there's some aspect of your life where you've been working really hard on one particular thing. That could be, as a general reading, that could be a lot of different things for people. It could be, a creative project. It could be a relationship. It could be something at work, etc. Something you've been working on for a while. You've been putting in the effort in, especially with the Nine of Pentacles here, because like I said, that's enjoying, the fruit of our labor, right? That is, after all the hard work of the Seven and Eight of Pentacles, finally, like with this bonsai tree, this is the formed thing. This is, we get to enjoy the fruits of our labor, right? So, the problem, though, is that, well, it's not necessarily a problem. I shouldn't put it that way. Maybe that's a bit of a negative way of putting it. The issue at hand, though, is there's something new that comes into your mind here, pile number twos, that it's either like another project or something else that is a little bit of a tug on your shoulder towards giving your time to something else. And I say that because you have the Ace of Wands reversed here. You can see it's like someone dragging a stick on the ground and it's creating a little bit of a spark. However, reversed, it's like we're not really sure we want to follow that new spark or that new little tug on our shoulder towards something, right? We're not sure, should I leave this one thing for this new thing? How do I balance my time between thing I've been doing and thing I want to start doing, right? That type of thing. And then especially here with the Explorer or the Knight of Wands reversed, that's a little bit of hesitation to go forward confidently with something. You can see like the salamander here, as I explained for pile number 1s, if maybe you also viewed that pile. The salamander's looking a little bit shy here, looking a little bit defensive, a lot of fire surrounding it. He's holding his wand close to him, right? We're not sure about something. We're a little, not fearful, but just not sure. And especially here with justice reversed, it almost feels like it would be, to you, when you come upon the situation, it almost feels like it would be an injustice to this thing you've already poured so much effort into with that Nine of Pentacles energy. You feel like, oh, well, I could follow this new thing, but I put so much effort and time over here, like, should I give it up? Should I try to balance between the old and the new thing? Should I just, stick with the old thing and, say this, screw the new idea that came in my mind, or the new thing that I want to do, right? And so you're feeling kind of almost, especially with your rose hip and the wolf card you picked for your pile leader, this is a card of being kind of protective of something, right? Guardianship. You're feeling kind of protective over this thing that you've been cultivating for a long time, like, the bonsai tree here in the Nine of Pentacles, right? You're feeling like, I put so much effort and energy into this thing. I have to guard it. Like, this is, something I have to keep an eye on. I can't invest energy in anything else, etc., that type of thing. And then your Four of Swords here is, you can see, like, the man laying in the hay, right? Feeling, well, if I give up the thing I've been putting so much effort into over here, our metaphorical bonsai tree we've been cultivating for, I don't know, say how many insert years here, right? God, am I just lazy? Like, is it maybe, am I just resting on my laurels? Am I, am I just doing this other thing because it's easier? Or am I just doing this other thing because I want to break? Or, basically it's kind of like a feeling of being stuck between A, this thing I poured a lot of energy into already, or B, do I go into this new thing that's really exciting me? Even if it feels like if I go the new direction, it's doing an injustice to the first thing that I put a lot of effort and energy into, and it's almost a feeling of here with the Four of Swords of, like resting, or like, oh, I'm failing this other thing because, I feel like I'm being pulled in this direction now. Yes. And like I said here with your Be Spontaneous card, it's almost like, something that kind of comes out of the blue that's pulling you towards a different direction here. Kind of like these two beings, like one is grabbing the other one's hand, kind of like lifting them up to the sky. Let's see what other symbolism I see in here. Forgive me for a moment while I peek at the card a bit closer off camera. Yeah, and then we have the moon in the background. And then we also have, it looks like morning glories. And morning glories only bloom for a day. Morning glories, bloom one day. They follow the sun, in the morning. That's why they open up. And then they die, right? Same thing with, or at least the blossoms die and then more come forward, right? And also, moonflowers are in the morning glory family, right? But they're kind of the opposite. They do the same thing, but with the moon instead of the sun, right? But to my understanding, they only bloom for a day, at least that one blossom. Yeah. So there's almost maybe a feeling here with that symbolism of the morning glory, I guess, getting back to my point here, of, even maybe a bit of a time crunch. Like, it might be something that comes along, I'm getting the sense, where you are doing one thing, you've put all this effort into option A, let's call it, but this new spontaneous thing just comes out of the blue, and maybe it's like a small time window you can really invest or go for it, hence the Be Spontaneous, like morning glory only blooming for a day. But there's this fear of like, oh, but, what if I give up this old thing that I've been putting so much energy into, and I'm so afraid, and then that fearing of, am I just being lazy, or, being really hard on yourself, that kind of feeling like, I really should just, put more effort into this older thing instead of giving up, right? Instead of just resting and going with this other thing that just popped up, right? Yeah, and then your Beware of Greed card here is interesting. It could be that money is involved as well. This could be like a career-related thing for you, or maybe it could be a creative project that you do, like maybe you sell art or something, like there's some sort of monetary exchange or physical exchange regarding it. And, I mean, maybe you're even fearing a sort of, like, if this new option that's spontaneous, this thing that just kind of pops up, small window of opportunity for you, pile number 2s, you're almost kind of fearing like, with either option A or option B, one of them offers more money than the other. And so you're kind of also afraid maybe too of like, well, am I only going with option A or option B because of money, or am I actually following my heart? Am I just doing the easy thing? Like with the Four of Swords here, like I said, that fear of feeling like you're being lazy, or fear of feeling like you're failing at something, right? Not necessarily true, I'm not saying that, but that's kind of the emotional state I'm seeing here for you pile number 2s, right? Yeah, so in summary, I know I kind of meandered around a little bit, but there's some situation coming up where there's going to be an option A that you've been doing for a while, but then a little option B pops up, very spontaneously, I should say. And there's a bit of a fear of, if you go with a small window of opportunity for this new thing, that you're doing disservice or injustice to the first thing that you've been working on so hard for so long for, or investing a lot of your time and or money in, right? A fear of failure, a fear of, am I doing this for the right reasons, I guess is the best way to summarize here with the Four of Swords too, like, yeah, a feeling of, am I just going for it just because it's easier, hence the Four of Swords, or, am I going for it just because of money, hence the, Beware of Greed with the pig, that type of situation. Now, this is general. Everyone's going to be a little bit different, or general reading, I should say. But I think for most of you, this is probably a career or like some sort of hobby you have where you do get money made. Like maybe like, for example, you sell art on Etsy is like a good example, right? That kind of thing. Yes. It could also be, maybe if you're on the dating scene, there's some sort of situation here where, so I'm going to clear the desk here to get your advice cards out. If you're on the dating scene, it could be a situation where, like, it's been going kind of well with someone that you've been seeing, but then, maybe a new date pops up because maybe you're not at the committed point yet necessarily. Something new pops up on a new date with someone else, and it's just like, whoa. This person is everything I've dreamed of, but I don't want to feel like I'm doing an injustice to the first person I've been going on dates with, that kind of thing. So it could be romantic as well, pile number 2s. But, of course, like I said, generating everyone's going to be a bit different. But let's get to your advice. Let's see what Spirit wants to tell you as to, like, how to go forward with this. Yes, okay. So let's see here. Your advice cards. We have the Power of Surrender card is surrender negative thinking. You have control over your thoughts. When negative thoughts surface, say, thank you for sharing, and quickly refocus on positive affirmations. Okay. All right. And then your angel guide oracle is guardian angel. I just said it. There you go. Guardian angel. So divine protection at this time. You're being divinely supported. Okay, that's always good to hear, right? Maybe connecting with your guides or your guardian angels here. Pile number 2 is a piece of advice. Your Pastoral Tarot is the Devil. Okay. The sheep being led away from the flock, curiously towards the wolf, while the shepherd is sleeping. Apologies for cards covering. And then your tarot cards are, we have the Ten of Cups, lovely always to get, right? Following our happiness, happily ever after. Lovely. You've got the Devil twice, and actually pile number 1's got the Devil at 1.2. A lot of synchronicities between you and pile number 1. You got the Devil twice, 2 different decks. Okay. Be mindful of things that trap or chain you. Is the Devil in a short summary. We have the Star reversed. Okay, maybe a lack of faith or hope in something. Okay, and then we have the, pile number 1's also got the Guardian. I swear I shuffled between piles. They also got the Guardian of Wands reversed. Lots of synchronicities between you and pile number 1. So if you haven't watched that pile, maybe if it calls to you, view pile number 1 as well. Just a lot of back and forth similar cards, right? Okay, so advice for you, pile number 2, is on the situation of option A, option B. Option B is short window of opportunity, but it feels like it does injustice to the thing you've already been doing. Okay, advice for you from Spirit. Well, number 1, like I said, as I pulled Guardian Angel out, you're being divinely protected right now, pile number 2s, during this time. Also could be an inclination, and not just like a reassurance, but an inclination for you to connect with your spirit guides or angels around you at this time, depending on your beliefs and depending on your personal spiritual practice. If you're not sure how to do that, you're maybe new to spirituality, at least in this particular manner, there's a lot of really, really good resources online for that. Generally, meditation, I would say, is a great starting point for you when this pops up on what decision to go with. Okay. Yeah, connecting with your guardian angels, with your spirit guides, right? And then surrender negative thinking. Okay, so pile number 2s, especially with all the devils that popped up, you got it from 2 decks, right? And especially with your star reversed. So, okay, the devil is, like I said, it's about the things that chain us or hold us down. It's the things that, in some ways it can mean like an addiction of some sort. In some ways it can mean being trapped in some way. It can also be the things that kind of lure us dangerously, hence like with this particular card from the Pastoral Tarot. The shepherd sleeping and the sheep's being led away from the flock with the wolf, right? Now, this card doesn't necessarily mean that the wolf is bad for the sheep. It doesn't look like it's going after it, but not a really good situation to be in for that sheep, right? So, advice number 2, on top of, maybe get in touch with your spirit team, I guess is how I would call, spirit guides, guardian angels, etc. Advice number 2 is when you come upon this situation in January, really look closely at which option or what aspects of both options are things that chain you or feel like they're tying you down, okay? Because one aspect of the devil, like I said, in a different reading, I could read it as like an addiction or something, feeling trapped in some way. But it can also be the allure of what's the way to put it? The allure of the comfort of staying in place and not taking advantage of new things that pop up. Like we said with your first set of cards, there was a card, Be Spontaneous, right? Spontaneous things can be fun, but for some of us, depending on our experience with change and the way, whether or not we fear change, spontaneity can be kind of scary, right? Things that pop up quick, and especially when it feels like a small window of opportunity, we're like, oh God, I'm so hurried, I gotta make a decision quick, like that kind of thing, right? So, with the devil, be mindful, like I said, of things that chain you, and I think specifically for you, pile number 2, this is related to, like I said, the star reverse with your surrender negative thinking. It's a lack of faith or hope in something. It could be that there's some aspect you're not looking at with both of these options where you could dabble in both. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to give up one for the other. Of course, that's different, obviously, depending on, if like this is a romantic relationship, for example, where, maybe you've been dating around a little bit, you're not really committed yet with anyone, and maybe things have been going well with one person, but then someone new pops up, like I said, that is just perfect for what you've been looking for. If you're not at the committed stage yet, it's like you're still just kind of like going on a first few dates, right? There's no reason you can't at least try a date with this other person that pops up, of course, knowing that, at least as long as the first person knows, that you are not quite at the committed point right yet, of course, because, communication and honesty is key in relationships, right? So I guess to summarize that is don't necessarily go with all or nothing thinking. And also, too, like, if it's something where you, instead of a relationship, it's like a creative project at work or, you know, in your personal time. There's nothing saying that you can't kind of work out some sort of compromise in terms of your time and your energy, right? You don't always have to go all or nothing in on one option or the other, especially because it seems like this option B coming up is something that's kind of short-term notice. And like I said, with the morning glory, it might only bloom for a day. So you're thinking like, oh, I gotta make a decision quick, right? There's always a way to compromise, I guess, is another piece of advice. And I'm saying that because, like I said, the devil is like the things we feel maybe like chained to one option. We feel like stuck in one option. We feel, you know, maybe chained to the comfort of sticking with what we know. And then, you know, surrender negative thinking and the star reversed is having hope and faith that everything will work out fine. You know, especially here because you got the Ten of Cups. And that card is all about, I mean, that's literally like the happily ever after card. Especially when it comes to emotions and relationships, pile number 2s. Because the cups is the water suit, which is emotions and, you know, the way we relate to each other, right? Other people. So I'm being guaranteed here pretty much, or I'm saying, or you're being guaranteed, I guess as I should say it that way, that there is a happily ever after here for you. There is a way towards happily ever after when the situation pops up. It's just paying a special attention to not being afraid of change, speaking with your spirit team, guardian angels, spirit guides, etc., having hope and faith that things will work out, looking for compromise, and also just being, especially here with your Guardian of Wands reversed, that's the Queen of Wands reversed, internal confidence. It's asking for more of that being reversed. Having more confidence here, letting go of the negative thinking of you know, oh, well, maybe I'll just stay with what I know because, well, maybe it won't even work out if I go with the other thing, like that type of thinking, right? Have the confidence to have faith in either finding a compromise between option A and option B, or following really what's calling to you. Pile number 2 is here. Let's see if there's any other pieces of advice here for you before I sign off. Yeah, there's almost a sense here of it's like this option B that only blooms for a day, metaphorically speaking. It pops up and it's almost like you immediately see it as, oh, this is just a temptation away from the solid and the stable thing I already have. But instead of it being like a wolf in sheep's clothing, it's more like a sheep in wolf's clothing. It's like for some reason I think you might, with that negative thinking, it's like in the star reverse, it's like you immediately think it's maybe almost too good to be true, and that's why it's almost like you're kind of like so what's the word? So chained and stuck with thinking like, oh, the only path forward is with option A. Like there's no compromise between the two, or there's no, you know, way forward where I can find happiness with either, you know, trying out both options, you know. Yeah, something like that. Any other messages here for you, pile number 2s? Yeah, just beware of pessimism here. Beware of feeling like you have to stick with one thing over the other. And yeah, like be spontaneous here is what I'm hearing from like that first card that popped up from your Nature's Whispers Oracle. Yeah, and talk to your spirit team. That's another thing that popped up here, pile number 2s. And then let me look at your pile leader for one more second here. The Wolf and Rosehip Guardianship. Being protective of things. Yeah, you're almost kind of protective over this thing you've been already doing for a while. And it's almost calling for you not to be so chained to that. Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, to summarize, pile number 2 is just when this pops up, like I said, be more optimistic about the outcome. Look for compromise between the options when it does pop up. And don't be afraid to be spontaneous, okay? All right, well, pile number 2s, I hope that reading was helpful for you. As always, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope to see you in the next reading. Bye. Hello, my lovely pile number 3s. Welcome to your Pick a Card reading for January 2024. Predictions and general guidance for you. As you recall, the card you used to pick your pile was the Porcupine and Anemone. with the subtitle Boundaries. So I'll comment on that a little bit more later, but generally already I'm seeing with this card, especially, like the porcupine has quills on its back, right? It's kind of like a defense mechanism. It's the way it protects itself. Hence, it's kind of like its boundaries, right? Its own boundary. And the anemone, if I'm not mistaken, is a flower that closes when it rains. So it kind of protects its petals from the moisture, right? So something about protecting oneself or having boundaries with something. Raising your quills up at something, okay? And your reading will be in 2 different sections. We'll have the general kind of predictions for what Spirit wants to talk to you about, a certain situation here or vibe of January. And then we'll have the guidance advice at the end. So let's split that. It's by the tarot cards, okay? Set these down here with me. For your tea leaf, we received Dolphin. Ooh, that's lovely to get. Financial gain, usually coming from something you did in the past. Lovely card to get. Awesome. I always love to deliver good news. But we'll see what the other cards say before I say that definitively. We also have the card Laughter from Nature's Whispers. Awesome. 2 figures on Pegasuses or Pegasi, is that how you say it, plural? Enjoying their life, having fun. Okay. Let's see what else pops up. Your Pastoral Tarot is the Chariot. Driving forward with the reins. Having control as you speed towards something. Okay. And your tarot cards for today, at least for the prediction section, are... We have the 9 of Swords reversed. Okay. Maybe a titch around mental health or anxiety of some sort. Poor little mouse is getting targeted by all those swords, right? We have the 2 of Wands reversed. Something about plans. Okay. The 7 of Swords. Something a little tricky or someone being clever or tricky in some way. A little sneaky card is what I always call it. I call it the sneaky card. It's my goofy way of describing the 7 of Swords. And then we also have the 8 of Pentacles reversed. Something about hard work at something. Alright, apologies for any mumbling or silence while I read your cards, pile number 3s. Okay, let's see what's going on for you in January here, pile 3s. Having boundaries, financial gain, laughter, driving forward, and then we have, okay. Anxiety, making plans, tricky, hard work. This one's a little bit of a tricky one. 1 second. Usually it just pops out at me after a second. Oh, yep, okay, there it is. Pops out. Sorry for the silence. Pile number 3s. In January 2024 for you, there's some sort of situation where I'm pretty sure it's related to work for you. Okay. There's some aspect of it where something's being a little devious at work. And I want to say it's because in conjunction with your Porcupine and Anemone card about having boundaries and your 7 of Swords, which is the sneaky card like I always call it, something is asking for too much of you at work, or it could be a person, right? And there's an inclination here to go with it because at work, of course, we always kind of feel like there's a paycheck being held over our head, hence the financial gain, usually coming from something you did in the past card we have here. There's something about finances. And another thing that kind of stops us from saying no at work, or in some situations in our lives, even if this isn't necessarily career work for you, pile number 3s, is we fear, oh man, if I say no, will they think I'm not working hard enough? If I say no to this overstepping of my boundaries, you know, will they make plans to get rid of me? Will they make, you know, plans to be upset at me? Or, you know, maybe if another project comes along, they'll think I'm irresponsible or something like that. Something of that nature, of the Nine of Swords reversed being like the anxiety, mental health card, where there's just a bunch of, I mean, you're kind of like this mouse here in this card. There's just a bunch of thoughts piling up on you like that. You feel like a quivering little mouse with a bunch of swords being pointed at you, right? So, some situation, likely at work for you, pile threes, where you feel like someone's really sneakily trying to overstep your boundaries, but you have a fear of saying no because of the things that can be held over your head. You almost just kind of want to run away from it because it's like something you really feel like you don't want to do. But it's like a lot of your confidence at work is based upon pleasing others, I think, here, pile threes, which can be a good thing, because obviously I get the sense here that you're a pretty hard worker, pile threes. It's just that sometimes, and I speak from personal experience, sometimes being too good at work or too hardworking at work burns yourself out, and other people come to rely on you too much. Okay, being reliable is good, being a pack mule is not, is how I'll put it, right? Especially here with the Chariot here, because it's almost like, despite the typical traditional meaning of this card, it's almost like you're one of these horses, and, you know, your work, or whatever the situation is the one holding the reins on you, kind of snapping at you to keep going forward, keep thundering, you know, holding things over your head, you know, or at least within your own mind, feeling like these things are being held over your head and just being anxious about it. Feeling like you can't put up boundaries in some way, pile threes, you know, because of, you know, fear of losing, you know, money, being let go because, oh, they'll think I'm not reliable or whatever, etc. But I think part of your hesitation to saying yes, though, pile threes, is there's some other thing you already had planned. And I say that because of the Two of Wands. The Two of Wands is normally the card of planning ahead for things. So this situation puts a wrench in a plan that you had. And that may be why, because you, like, I see that you probably typically say yes to everything, pile threes. That may be why you finally have a little bit of I'm a little hesitant to say yes to this, because I already made plans for something else. If this isn't related to a job for you, pile threes, it could also be to someone else in your life not related to work asking for you to do something in January here that takes away from time of something, like I said, you already planned. But you don't want to say no to people. You don't want to disappoint them, I guess, is what I would say, is the general feeling I'm getting out of this spread. And I can already tell you your advice probably has to do with saying no. I'm not going to say that conclusively yet. But I say that because of your laughter card over here. This is the card about focusing on what makes us happy in life. You know, not only did you get, well, like the two horses here, but you also got the two Pegasus, which is, you know, they're horses with wings, right? In your laughter card about driving forward. Except this time, instead of it's, you know, a horse being, you know, whipped at with the reins to keep driving forward as fast as possible to get away from the storm, this time it's two horses, you know, having more of a jolly jaunt with these two children on their backs, you know, and even the colors seem, you know, more playful and happy, right? More rainbowy. It's not so much a feeling of hurrying away from something, it's a feeling of happily going along and having fun, right? And so I think this situation is this thing you already planned for, that someone's asking you to take time away from, that you already made plans for, is, you know, maybe because you are so overworked, pile threes, I'm seeing here, you need this time off so bad, or this thing that you already made plans for, because you're so burned out and you need time, you know, to recuperate and have fun and actually have laughter in your life, you know, hence your laughter card. But it's so hard to put up those boundaries, you know. It's so hard to say no, because it's like, you know, well, we're the reliable one. We're, you know, the horse that reliably draws the carriage along, you know, keeping the hay dry from the storm, right? Making sure we don't get struck by lightning out on the prairie, because we gotta hurry home and get back to the barn, right? Of course, I mean, metaphorically speaking, but with the imagery of the chariot, that's kind of what it's, you know, depicting. So, yeah. So that's the situation I'm seeing for you in January here, pile number 3. Some sort of aspect where someone asks you to do something or something's pulling on your time away from something you already made plans for and being really anxious about saying no or making a decision on it. Being stuck between, well, I feel like I should do this because I don't want to disappoint someone else, but then I would disappoint myself. That's kind of what I'm seeing here. Pile 3s, excuse me. I keep wanting to say pile 2s for some reason, but... All right, so let's get to your actual guidance and advice here, pile 3s, for the situation of saying no and having some fun. Or it could be that you're actually guided to say yes, we'll see. But I think with your laughter card, like I said, you're probably going to be told to, from Spirit, to have some fun and not burn yourself out so hard, right? Okay. So, pile number 3s, let's look at your advice cards from Spirit. Okay, 1 second. Get my ducks in a row. Your surrender card is surrender outdated beliefs about yourself. Let go of limiting ideas about yourself that originate from the past. Then you can own your power and soar in your life. Outdated beliefs about yourself. Pile number 3 is you aren't a pack mule. Okay? You have every right to say no when your self-love and self-care is on the line. Okay? Like this fall tree here. You can shake off old, outdated beliefs about yourself about how I have to be reliable all the time. You know, reliability is a great thing, right? You know, everyone values someone being reliable, right? But like I said, you're not a pack mule. I mean, you can have fun, okay? And I wonder, you know, I won't delve into your deep past too much here, pile number 3s, but I wonder if it might come from some sort of childhood upbringing where you were responsible a lot of the time, and so that's why at the age you are now, perhaps you feel like you have to be kind of a pack mule for people, or at work especially. Anyways, okay. And then we have your angel card, composure. Okay, setting the sword down, responding calmly, responding without emotion. Okay, being composed, putting the sword down. All right. I'll get to your other tarot in a second. Your Pastoral Tarot is 2 of Pentacles, balance. Okay, that's what I was saying. You aren't a pack mule, pile number 3s. You have every right to have a balance of fun and work in your life, okay? You don't have to put all of your eggs in one basket of work, and no fun. Because all work and no play makes Jane a dull girl, right? Or John a dull boy. Okay. You need time for yourself. Okay. And then your tarot cards here you have, the sun reversed. Focus on your happiness, pile number 3s. Okay. You have every right, like the sunflower, to every once in a while lift your head towards what uplifts you. You know, what brings light to your life. And not just staring at the ground, focusing on hard work all the time, okay? 4 of Cups can mean apathy, not seeing something right away. Okay, let's see what else pops out. The 8 of Wands reversed, motion, speed. Okay, and then we have the Elder or King of Cups, probably related to your composure card here, pile number 3s. Okay, so your advice and guidance for the situation, pile number 3s, is something to do, like I said, 2 of Pentacles I already kind of talked about, plus surrender outdated beliefs about yourself. Number 1, well, with your pile leader, let's start with that. It's okay to have boundaries. It's okay to say no. It's okay to put your quills up a little bit like the porcupine, or turn your petals down like the anemone to protect yourself from the rain or things demanding too much of you, okay? It is a-okay. And then especially, like I said, with the 2 of Pentacles, you know, you don't have to have all of your eggs in one basket of work. You can take some time to enjoy life, and you can take some time to recuperate your energy. You know, like if you're sick, if you haven't had a break in a long time, take breaks at work, you know. If you haven't had time off in a while, take that time off, okay? You know, especially like we were talking about in the aspect of your reading where it seems like you've already made plans for something else. You know, respect your own time and respect, you know, the thing that you already made plans for, you know? You know, not only for self-care reasons, pile number 3s, but, you know, well, I mean, mainly for self-care reasons, you burn out, you're not going to be very efficient, right? You're going to be unhappy. But yeah, finding balance in life here with the Two of Pentacles too, balancing between work and play, right? Not too much of one thing. In all things, moderation. Yeah, and then let's see. We already talked about surrender outdated beliefs about yourself, composure, and then I think the King of Cups or Elder of Cups and composure are kind of a combined final message, so I'm going to talk about those in just a second. As for your Four of Cups, though, and your Eight of Wands reversed, those are interesting. Let me take a gander and see. 1 second. What's going on with those? Four of Cups. Oh, okay. All right, pile number 3s. These two cards are, so you have two messages here, twofold messages here about kind of what to do when this pops up, when someone asks you to take away time from something you already planned for. Okay. Advice number 1, with the Four of Cups and the Eight of Wands reversed, is to don't feel rushed to say yes. Don't feel rushed to give an answer right away. It is okay to contemplate and take time. You don't have to be, someone, even if they're snapping their fingers, you don't have to leap right up at them and say, okay, you can take time, as an individual person for yourself. And also when someone asks of your time, especially when you've already made plans, to weigh it and think about it. Okay. Maybe even kind of come off as a bit apathetic, because especially the Four of Cups is the card of like having apathy about something. Also, especially with this deck, it's, a rock in the middle of the river. It's being unmoving, being solid, having boundaries, right? Just because there's a fast current going past you, aka the other person that might be asking your time of you that you already planned for something else, just let the water flow right past, okay? Let, oh, but I need you. Oh, but I need you, like that type of thing, because unfortunately, a lot of times, like I said, when people kind of have come to rely on us too much, knowing that we're that reliable, like I said, good to be reliable, but sometimes it turns us into a pack mule, like I was talking about before. They can use your fear and anxiety and reluctance to say no against you. Now, am I saying is this other person necessarily doing it consciously? No. But they might know that you're the type of person where, if they say, hey, I have a problem, you need to drop everything you're doing to do the thing that I do, put your plans out the window, I need you stat, right? They know that you're the type of person that will immediately kind of react that way, okay? So react a little bit different than you normally do, pile number 3s. React a little bit more apathetic. You're the solid stone in the river of the thing that's being asked of you flowing past you. Just be like, well, I'll think about it, okay? I'll think about it, and that's kind of where the second part of the twofold message I was saying, or at least pieces of advice here with the composure and the King of Cups. King of Cups is all about, it's kind of actually like the composure card here, right? So I'll pick it up for a second. It's kind of like the composure card. I'm going to cover your surrender card. Yep, coming off apathetic, emotionally in control. Don't show any fear or anxiety when this pops up, okay? When this person asks you to do this thing. Because, depending on the person they are, they might immediately jump on it as a thing to bite upon, to not use against you necessarily, but as, hey, I asked this person to do this thing. Oh, they're anxious. I can use that to convince them, right? Like I said, I'm not saying everybody, since this is a general reading, for everyone, that the person who's asking you to do something would consciously jump on that and use your anxiety against you. But unfortunately, there are people out there that can't do that. So, number 1, apathy. Number 2, composure. Being emotionally controlled, even if, inside you're internally, screeching and rolling around, oh God, they asked me to do something, but I already have plans, a little anxiety, panic, etc. Your advice here, especially with all these cards from Spirit, is to outwardly seem very, very composed and apathetic and taking your time to give your decision, okay? The other twofold message is what we talked about with your Two of Pentacles, balance in life. Don't be afraid to have fun. Don't be afraid to say no if you've been working too hard, so that you can take some time off or do that thing that you wanted to do, right? Or if this isn't work related, I think for most of you it is, but for some of you, if it isn't, whatever it is that's asking away from your time, you know, find balance in your life from between one thing and the other thing, you know, the thing that you want to do and the thing that you're being asked to do, right? And then the sun, too, reversed, is following your light, following the thing that makes you happy, right? So when the situation comes up, pile threes, follow what makes you happy, have external, outward, emotional composure about it, even if inside you're, like, screeching and rolling around and, like, panicking, like, I totally get it, I do that sometimes, too, where I might come off as really emotionally composed on the outside, but on the inside I might be, like, screeching about something, right? Take your time answering, weigh the pros and cons, don't feel like you have to be a pack mule for people, and don't be afraid to set boundaries, okay? Especially with your porcupine and anemone, okay? Excuse me. My voice is getting a bit scratchy here. Yes, having composure. Yeah, this angel right here. This is exactly what you need to look like when this person asks you this thing. That is exactly what you need to look like. Neutral face. Weighing two things here. The two flames in their hands. Like, I don't know. I'll think about it. That's exactly what you have to, or at least you're being advised to look like, you know, or respond like when this situation comes up. Yeah, and like I said, just remember, balance in life is key. Moderation, have fun. All work and no play makes Jane a dull girl, right? And yeah, don't be afraid to have boundaries, pile number threes. You are worth self-care, and you are worth self-love, and you are worth having fun, okay? So I hope that reading was helpful for you, my lovely pile number threes. As always, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you in the next reading. Bye.